Hello and welcome, everybody. Today's on the session dedicated for Executive Automat's security setup. We're going to talk a lot about the licensing, and we're going to talk a lot about the setup of the security. We just have a last-minute Raf joining of the session. Yeah, Raf. So maybe I'm going to just give you your part.
Yeah, sorry. Usually it's not a situation not having. I would say this is a live show. Many things are happening. So again, guys, thank you for joining us today for today's webinar show called "How to Create a Quick Security Roles in Dynamics 365 Finance Operations with Perfect License Match." If you may, Bart, because I think you are sharing the presentation, you
Yeah,
can
right.
skip to the second slide. So
Yeah.
moving to today's webinar agenda, we will focus on the introduction to the security basics. Afterwards, we will introduce you to the license model because, as you know, Microsoft changed it a lot, and basically, I don't know any person who knows all the stuff behind that. So this is a very thoughtful thing in terms of the knowledge which you can use in terms of understanding the licensing model of Dynamics 365. Afterwards, we identify and record the business process and create a duty and merge it to the role because, as you know, our tools have this cool capabilities of being in one framework, so we can, from the business process, create an recorded business process. We can create a duty and privilege and configure it to the role. Then how to move it to the second environment and how to test the UI UX afterwards when you configure, because we can remember that any different role have any different, I can have a different view. So user interface looks way different when you have a more privileges or less. So basically, we'll show to you how it looks like. So the star of the show. Moving to the star of the show, Bart. Thank you for managing this for a few seconds of the webinar. Like I said, this is a live situation, so a typical live show, so many things may happen. We are trying to secure ourselves from unpredicted things, but sometimes the internet connection can, make some kind of obstacle here. So again, many thanks, guys, that you have joined us. I see that a couple of people already here with us. So I think, Bart, we can move to you. So, but one more thing which we can mention. Remember about our October show, October North America Summit in Charlotte, because you will be able to meet us in person there. So, yeah, I'm counting that the link to the summit will be visible in the chat section of our show. So if you have ability to meet us in Charlotte, feel free. We'll be happy to speak about the security and the test automation tool which we are having there. And yeah. So moving forward to the star of the show, Bart, our head product manager, product owner of Executive Automats Framework. So the
Thank you so
stage
much, Raf.
is yours.
Yeah, let's agenda. We're gonna just give you some basic understanding of some nice stuff around the roles, as Raf mentioned, and yeah, for Dynamics communities, we may have some discounts for customers or people which want to join us there. So you can just let us know. We know that these events, they're definitely to plan. This is October, but if somebody wants to go, you need to book the seat. You have to make the delegation. So in order to do that, it might be worth to use it, use this occasion. Quick explanation: the role, duty, and privilege and entry point concept. Of course, the security stuff in AX, they are pretty complicated because Dynamics gives you plenty of opportunities to record and then build role that will meet the requirements of the business. So I would say it has to be like that. It is very hard to make it easy, but there are some tools to simplify the whole approach of creating roles and maintaining them in easy way. Um, from the standard of the system, you have roles, which can be understood as positions. You have duties, more like responsibilities of a person, which is doing specific thing, and then you have privileges or lower level process that you do within the duty. Each of these, they we can say these are groups. So these groups, they're going to contain user interface elements, table of fields, SSRS reports, service operations. So we can say entry points. This is the keyword for user interface elements. To understand that behind every button, behind everything that you have in the system, there is an entry point hidden. If you're going to take a look on the system itself, if you're going to right click on the form information, you will see that these elements, they've got exact control name, that there is something like entry point. Behind the credit management, you have the credit man table, which is a menu item. So to give access to the person to the specific credit management feature, you just need to add access to the entry point. It's the smallest one. So if you're going to carry this a little bit more, you will say that every duty contains multiple entry points, which are the accesses, which are building your responsibilities, building possibility to perform these responsibilities or processes. So one process may need a lot of entry points. Uh, Microsoft gives you a standard called APQC process classification framework. We can say APQC. If you're going to browse through the roles, duties, and privileges, you will see that these elements are coming from the general standardized way how business rolls throughout the world. So because it is general, you will know that more you want to be precise or more you want to optimize your license level, it is harder to get because these roles, they will never be aligned with your exact business. Every business is different. So it is hard that manufacturing process ordering will be the same as sales ordering process in the company which is just reselling. So these two, it is hard to get. We're going to show you later on some comparisons, but you can just we can just understand that the roles, duties, and privileges in Dynamics Finance and Operations, they come from the APQC library, and this is the library which Microsoft purchased in the past. So this concept, the role-based role, duty, privilege, this is just the tip of the iceberg. If you're going to go forward and you will say, all right, I've got my role ready, I've got my duty ready, and then what else? I would like to limit access to the field specifically. In order to do that, you have to introduce controls permissions, so-called controls permissions, which you have to apply to the form itself, which are more development stuff to do. But indeed, in finance and operations, you are able to take the form, like sales auto creation, and hide some elements. Let's say you would like to hide margin for most of the people, or you would like to hide value, what was the purchase price of an item you sell for certain people. You are able to do that. You are able to apply code permissions for a field, and then you are able to manipulate who will have access to the field itself, maybe only managers, in example. So if you're going to build your access rights to the forms, some of those are going to be read, some update, some delete, then you're going to move forward to the level, the higher level, which will be a cherry on the top. In that case, you're building the limitations. And of course, this is not the ending. You have then XDSs, which are available in the finance and operations. So if you would like to do limit records of which you see in the system just to those which are belonging to specific query, there are capabilities to do that. But it is, again, even more advanced. If you're gonna stick to just roles, duties, and privileges, and you're gonna build it right, I see now some question regarding the row level security. The RLS, record level security, is, but in finance and operations, it is not more available so much as it was in 2012. By the way, uh, we had some confirmation from Alex Mayer that actually that's kind of a changer in finance and operations. But indeed, RLS exists still in 2012. Yeah. Based on your configuration of the roles, then you have to deal with licensing. So how licensing is calculated based on the person. In example, Alicia, it is understood by the standard of the system report supply chain management role uh, license, which means that if you're going to take out all entry points from a specific person, then you are able to find out what is the highest license entry point, license attached to the entry point, and then you take the highest one and you calculate based on that your entry point. So if you're going to take a Miro quickly, I can show you more an example. So if you're going to take out a specific person which has some number of processes to handle, let's say our Matt Damon person has a specific role, and this role extracts multiple entry points. Based on these, we are calculating if it is a team member, if it is activity or operation. So we are taking the highest one and telling the system, all right, this will be operations when it is maintained, or view when it is team member. It might be a little bit complicated because Microsoft still is containing old license level and new license level, which refers to basic model. But as mentioned, there are some simpler way how to do that. For you, as a takeaway, please understand that when you have your all users in the system, we are extracting from everybody, from every ID, every user which exists in the system. We are extracting rows and entry points behind the rows. And then these entry points are giving you idea if it is finance basic plus SCM attached, and then possibly commerce. So this simply says that more access you have, more process you do, you're going to be more expensive. Of course, if you're going to have more access, you're going to be flooded with multiple elements, multiple forms, buttons that might be not used in the system, but you will still see them, and the product owner, the Dynamics Finance and Operation Program Manager, they have to pay for, the stakeholders, they need to pay for the higher amount of the licenses that they have to purchase. If you're going to optimize that, you will see less. The users will have better learning curve. They will be able to perform operations much more smoothly, and they will simply cost less the whole organization. So, one-to-one, you see how system looks with limited security for the same processes, and for using standard elements, how does it look like? So you were able to perform a lot of optimizations. And I was mentioning what is new coming from Microsoft. In the Inner Circle meeting in Phoenix, we participated in May. We see that there will be a cleanup to get rid of those older licenses level, as they are still in system. So the operations will have finally a proper license level approximately to the basic model license which was introduced. So this is something which is coming. We don't know yet which version of the system will have that, which update from the one version, but this is something yet to come. And this will definitely mean a lot for people which are wanting to build nice and clear roles, because right now it is harder to get understanding what actually operations will be in the system. And actually, answer is simple. You have to apply that to the highest basic level that you have. So if you have the highest number in finance, you have to apply these operations into the finance. So then you are just taking the most expensive license if they are just operations. We can make more examples with you. We have that checked with Microsoft, and that's kind of a nice way that this could be more precisely described in the licensing model. But as mentioned, we are waiting for simplification from Microsoft to get rid of those. Coming back to the presentation, what are we going to do? We're going to recode together a process to extract security. Then we're going to build duty and merge that to the bigger row. Then we're going to move in between environments some rows, and we can test it out. At the end, we can make some changes to the row to see how to add one button which we've missed. So if user receives the new row for position and they're going to say, oh, we need that one extra button which was missed, we are able to easily extend the row in a few clicks. So now let's log into the Dynamics. I'm going to just take my new browser here. And we're going to start with update 56 of Dynamics. This is just a contours environment where we're going to build an example of row, let's say for finance, for fixed assets, maybe this time. Last time we did finance, so this time I'm going to build a row for fixed asset management. So on the left-hand side, just to explain, we see here a new area for accounts payable, for accounts receivable, finance, HR, and warehouse. So we can say that our organization has 5 areas. I can add new one, which we're going to call FA as fixed assets. And we're going to build behind fixed assets a position called FA clerk. So we want to build a custom row for our fixed asset clerk. This is the FA clerk. And here, these are duties and jobs tasks, so responsibilities of FA clerk. Now I can take recordings that I've did for this session. Let me go to my documents, task recordings, webinar. So I've got here a preset of multiple recordings. They are, of course, done in a task recording. That's an option to use. Normally, we use this in a combination of test automation because you are getting the highest benefit when you do test automation. And then thanks to that, you have to build coverage for your whole system, that you have to build test cases. Out of each test case, you can extract security duty and then build a row and have test automation and security configuration in one run without a sweat. And here, as this is just task recording, we just want to help out every customer. Doesn't matter if this is standard or not. So let's take create fixed assets as one process, include table permissions and controls permissions. So system identified from task recordings 3 entry points with a specific usage of it. We can then follow this path to another one, let's say FA journal, and then load another one. This way you can build an infinite list, of course, but we're trying to be precise on what the specific person, the fixed asset clerk, will do. In that case, those 2 processes, balanced by FA. So we're going to have 3 processes to handle. And then we can think, all right, so how am I going to record? Or if I want to do more precise, or if I want to record some specific entry points for another row, I don't have it recorded yet. As mentioned, you can use Task Recorder or Executive Automats. So I'm going to use quickly EA to do that. This is a tool that we also deliver for testing. So I'm going to record here fixed asset reportings for my row, FA clerk. And let's do that. Start and record. So simply saying, I have to navigate through finance and operations and interact with elements which I want to use for my FA clerk role. System loaded, and now I can start with fixed assets. We can go to periodic tasks. So let's take a reclassification as one process that we want to do. Empty one, that doesn't matter. So we're going to record one entry point. We can then move forward to inquiries and report. We can take lending report. So I can just go one by one elements which I want to add. But of course, if you would like to add one element without browsing it to the end, because this might be time consuming to click throughout whole system, we are able to use our functionalities to take everything from the specific area you've been through. So if you're going to go to the sales orders and you know that you want to add to the user all elements from the all sales orders, you are able to add them very quickly, which takes and gives you massive saving not to go through every possible form and button that are existing in the system. So let's go maybe to inventory asset journal. So we're going to have a little bit more entry points, and if we are ready, we'll be able to finish the recording. So I'm going to click finish, save it, and now if we're going to go here to the executive automate script loading, we will be able to take FA clerk and load entry points just like that. So we have following a list of the entry points needed for my process. And I was mentioning before that if a specific user would like to add one more button, this is always about that one more functionality which is missed. I'm still here. Let me come back here also to our executive automates. Okay. So if our user, right now we are browsing the system for the system admin. If our user will tell us, guys, but we need to add to my role a few more functionalities. In that case, I need to have credit invoicing, print management, and a few more functionalities. I can right click and I can find out, of course, from the standard, what system tells me, what is behind credit invoicing. The standard of the system tells me that this is cast free text invoice list page, which is totally wrong. So in order to be more precise, you can use our extension, and you can see that this is actually cast event credit invoicing. If you're going to do view permissions, you are able to find out much more elements which are available in that context. And to not browse through Visual Studio to find some elements, we are able to just find what I needed, what the specific user wanted, and instead of doing it in a technical way, I can just add these entry points to the latest element that we uploaded, so FA clerk, and this is going to be a whole list. So we are just extending our FA clerk role with buttons which we identified with the user. This is the way how we usually do that. And we have very nice track record of developing whole security layer for organization within a month or two. Last partner from Germany, they just noticed us that they did 10 roles in 10 days, and that was the scope for the project in the majority of work which has to be done. And within 10 days, they were able to operate and bring down a lot of license value for finance and operations. So if we're going to come back to FA clerk, we're going to see now that we have a little bit more from sales, just as we wanted. And now I see that my FA clerk has 4 processes to handle. Now I need to create duties. Duty webinar 1. So I'm going to do build duty webinar 2, and I'm going to follow that. In the meantime, I can tell you a funny fact that this is another situation where our competitor is trying to make attention on our webinar. Cheers, guys. Nice to have you as well here on our session with live competition. Like and then actually love them. Now we can take duties which we created, and we're going to build a row. We're going to build a row for our FA clerk webinar without the underline. Webinar, the role is created. The first creation doesn't give you the need for publishing. It will be available straight in the configuration. So now if you're going to go here to the FA, you see duties, you see privileges, and our entry points. For some of those, you're also going to see controls permissions which are applied throughout the recording. So we are able to identify some code permissions which are applied to the specific process. What we can do now? Now, this is the moment where we can come back to the security and then export this specific FA clerk to our security configuration. So security configuration is saved. This is update 56, so instance of finance and operations from few quarters back, 56. Now I'm going to log into 52 update, which is an older one. And here I can import a file that we just extracted from another environment. So security configuration, let's wait system consumes that. And we have published objects, unpublished objects. 9 of them, we can publish them all, and we can apply FA clerk to my account. So finally, I can go to the system administration, users. I can find out my account. As you see, I'm here system admin. So I'm going to firstly apply my FA clerk role, and then we can remove system admin. Then we can do Ctrl F5. We're going to get a communication that we are not allowed to be here as planned. And left hand, we are able to browse fixed assets and plenty of reclassification, fixed asset lending report, and inventory journals. So not a lot of things. Everything is very limited as we were browsing through for the system. And if we would like to extend that, we are able to extend it very easily as we were doing that a second ago by right-click and adding to the duty. This is system update 52, so very good info that this is backwards compatible, but in the real life scenario, you're probably going to move other way around. So this won't be anyway an issue, but this is good to see that Dynamics is compatible backwards as well. So this row is cutting a lot of elements from the system. Once again, it is custom. And as mentioned, if you're going to follow this practice to build your roles based on duties, actual processes, you are able to create massive savings on licensing. You are able to be actually finally aligned with what you are purchasing for your company based on kind of a calculation of what people are doing. And also the growth organization, rollouts, every other part of security can be handled by this. You are able to move that very easily by layers, build backups, and finally solve this magical mystery of building precise roles for your organization. I think we've covered most of the points of the agenda. I think this is going to be an awesome moment to give you some time, guys, to ask questions. Of course, we do free trials. So if you would like to browse through the application and just take a look how it works, we can build with you a few rows. So either way, if you're going to not decide to go forward with the tool, you are able to build for you few workable roles and then use it on the production. So you're going to have straight away an effect. On the other hand, if you would like to receive some default roles that we built, you can also get that by configuration file. And I'm all ears. Thank you so much for this part. Raf, I think the stage is yours, and we can continue with Q&A moment.
Yes, yes. Thank you, guys. So I would just, firstly, maybe ask you guys to take the advantage of the link which you have been seeing on the chat section, as you can book yourself a free trial of the tools which we are showing today. So basically, whole experience and whole knowledge transfer may be something which you should consider during this trial process. So yeah, moving forward to the QA section of today's show. Well, I see the first question, which was quite already answered, but probably role of security, another example, you already answered that. And second question from Robin, is the presentation being recorded for the future review? Yes, the presentation will be, is recorded and will be shared to you guys with the email address which you have registered with to this as attendee. So remember to check all of your inboxes which you have using during a day-to-day basics. And yeah, we'll check the questions which we're having here. Yeah, we have like a few more questions. I will just share that. Okay. Can we customize roles for some of the legal entities, not for all?
Sure. This comes from the standard. So any role you're going to create, the role can be applied to the specific entity. So if you're going to go to the system administration where you apply roles to every user, every role has that parameter assigned organizations. So you can tell this is Italy role, this is another one, and that's kind of a good thing to think about that when you build the roles, where you can build the role specifically for sales manager, and then you can have 5 sub roles which are introducing to you only elements of localization specifics. So it is easier from the methodology perspective to maintain the sales manager role for whole organization, and then specifically for Italy, France, and Switzerland, you're able to add some more stuff to not disrupt them. Yeah, but that's possible from the standard possibilities.
Cool. Another question. How quick can we start using the security setup tool? Well, it's a deployment package, so quite easy. You just need to install this deployment package and you're ready to go. But as you are moving forward with us, sorry, but maybe you want to answer that question.
Go ahead, Rob.
I just start the flow and it seems like that okay. So basically, as the security setup is the deployment package, you can be ready within like hours of the installation afterwards, but still you are secured from our side with support and also 2 training sessions. So basically we are doing a huge handover of the knowledge and experience during this session to give you the advantage of all the knowledge which you need to have. You will not be left on the ass. So basically, you will know how to start and how to create the role, how to configure the role, merge it, delete it, whatever it's like needed from your side. So after installation, you can do it. So it's visible already in your environment, and all the functionalities already, working there. So this is quite easy also and quite fast in terms of the implementation. So another question, does your tool work for Dynamics Microsoft 365 customer engagement?
No, we don't do the C. We don't think that we're going to do C so much, as the security model is kind of a different there. We might in the future, but right now, yeah, most of our investment is in whole application lifecycle management for finance and operations. CE is of course a part where we do test automation and some other testing, performance testing. But yeah, this is more dedicated for LAM, and security is not part of CE yet.
Thank you, Bart. And one more. Is there any report that you recommend using to calculate licenses in D365 finance operations?
Sure. This might be a little bit more problem from the standard, as they are quite hectic and you can't find one report which will tell you how much license you need, especially since they are not aligned with operations and basic model license. So you can use three of them in this secure system setup. But yeah, this might be quite hard to understand the right choice you have to do when it comes to license purchase. They are, of course, available in the system administration, and then you have to do license report, and user license estimator is one report, and there is another report called user license counts. These two. Yeah, the application which we are presenting today, we have a specific set of the reports which are simplifying that. But yeah, this could be probably thing you might see on trial if you would like to browse it.
Okay. And last, but I think not least, can you use the task recorder to prepare custom roles?
Yes, as we've presented over the presentation. Yes, you're able
Yes,
to
yes.
introduce the task
This is
recorder.
like a amended functionality in Executive Automat security setup that you can use both from the Executive Automats and from the task recorder. So, yeah. Okay, I think we don't have more questions, but I will be glad if you may switch to the last slide of the presentation with our contacts. I know that it's like a way different situation that we usually have. But thank you, Bart, for supporting me in this
Ready, steady.
situation. And yeah, guys, contact me and my friend if you have any questions considering the tool. We will be happy to meet you in person via Teams or physically. It depends on the situation. And yeah, I'm hopefully counting that also we will be able to meet you in person during the North America Summit in Charlotte this year. Cool, Bart. Thank you for the session today. Thank you guys for being with us, and see you around in the next session.
Cheers, guys.
Bye.